Hey guys, it is time for Summer of the Secret Squadron, Chapter 2 and 3 today. And I have Finley with me. Say hello, Finley. He's sleeping. Anyway, Summer of the Secret Squadron, Chapter 2. Mom! I yelled down the stairs. What is it? Mom yelled back from the kitchen. Can you come upstairs real quick? I'll be up in a minute, Mom said. Can you come up now? We found something. I was very impatient. Mom made her way up the stairs. You found something? I filled Mom in on the details of how I took up the old carpet and ended up finding the jar and the papers. I can't believe you found a secret hiding place in your room. But what are these pages? Is it code? I asked. It may be some kind of code, Mom said, but I have no idea how you might go about deciphering it. Maybe your dad can help. Why don't you boys run down to the store and show him the pages? I know he'll be excited to hear about your discovery. I guess so, I agreed. Here, let's put them all together and get them back in the jar. I wanted Dad to see them just like we found them. That sounds good, Mom said. Just be careful not to break the jar. Having that glass lid makes it worth a little bit of money. Okay, guys, let's go, I said. Hey, your room is still a mess, Mom said, looking at me from the corner of her eyes. Mom, I begged. Go on, she said, giving in. I'll finish it up this time. All of the stuff will just go in your closet for now. Your dad will want to see inside the window seat where you found the jar. Thanks, Mom. See you later. We ran outside and got our bikes and took off for the store. Only a few blocks away. We wanted to fly, but we were afraid we might drop the jar, so we restrained ourselves to a slower pace. I didn't know what was going on in their minds, but my mind was racing with plots from every Hardy Boys books I had ever read. This was every boy's dream, a real live mystery. I envisioned the coded messages revealing some ancient Indian burial ground full of golden artifacts, or a cave full of loot from some great train robbery, or at least some encrypted messages left over from the Civil War. All this in 5 blocks, and then back to the real world as we dropped our bikes at the back door of the store and ran in to find Dad. He and Mr. Parks were up at the front waiting on customers. I so wanted to interrupt them and tell them what we had found, but Dad had a strict rule about not interrupting him when he was with a customer. So we wandered around the store, looking at new fly fishing tackle that had just arrived. Mr. Parks was the previous owner of the hardware store and had agreed to stay on for a year to teach Dad the ropes. He had become like a grandfather to me, always telling stories about growing up down on the bayou. A negative word never came out of his mouth. After what seemed like an eternity, there was a lull at the checkout, and Dad and Mr. Parks were up at the front talking. Hey boys, what are y'all up to this morning? Dad asked as he placed his hand on top of my untamable mop of hair. Hey, Dad. Hey, Mr. Parks. Hi there, boys, Mr. Parks smiled. I thought those customers would never leave, I said. Those people put food on our table, Dad reminded me. I know that, Dad, but there's something I've got to show you. What you got there? Did you catch a snake or something? You'll never guess in a million years, I said. A walking stick? No, it's not anything we caught, I said. You'll never guess, Dad. Okay, I give up. What's in the jar? You tell us, I said, handing him the jar. Dad took the jar and pulled out the roll of pages and began thumbing through them. Where did you get these? We found them this morning, up in my room. We went on to explain how we had found the secret hiding place in the window seat and had come to the conclusion that the pages were some sort of coded message. Looks like you boys have a mystery on your hands, Dad said with a grin across his face. Are we right? Is it code? Sumner asked. Sure looks that way, Dad said. Do you think it was written by spies? Logan asked. Logan. Sumner rolled his eyes, giving his brother a nudge. Well, I guess it could have been written by spies, Dad said as he handed the papers to Mr. Parks. What do you think these are? Let me take a look. You say you pulled a piece of rope up after you took the old carpet out from the bottom of the window seat? Yep, it was nasty, I said with a grimace. Was it thick carpet or stringy? Mr. Parks asked. Stringy. Looked more like yarn, Logan said. Yeah, and it was sort of speckled with bits of black, Sumner added. Mr. Parks chuckled. Sounds like a piece of shag carpet. Probably came from this very store. We sold lots of that bright red shag carpet back in the 70s when it was popular. What does that have to do with these pages? Logan asked. Well, it means that this jar and these papers were more than likely put down that old chimney at least 25 to 30 years ago, and I'm guessing that it was longer than that. Probably more like 50 or 60 years ago. Why do you say that? Sumner wanted to know. Because I think I know what these pages are, Mr. Parks stated. Really? Dad was surprised. They are coded messages. And I guess you could say they were put there by spies. Young ones, that is. What do you mean? I asked. Well, for one thing, it's notebook paper. The next thing is that the handwriting seems a bit juvenile. And most of all, it reminds me of something from my childhood, back when I was about as old as you boys are. We didn't have television or computers, video games, or anything like that, but we did have the radio. That's where we got our news and our music. And there were also radio shows, sort of like today's television shows, except you could only hear the actors. Obviously, you couldn't see them. Some were soap operas, some were westerns, and some were more for children. I remember one show that my friends and I listened to religiously. It was called Captain Midnight and the Secret Squadron. It was about this secret agent spy going around fighting crime, catching all these bad guys, and you could be a part of his secret squadron if you bought enough Ovaltine, I think it was. You could send away for all kinds of stuff, cups, medals, rings, handbooks. One of the things you could get was this decoder thing. It was a little brass toy with a dial that you could set so you could send secret messages to your friends and decode messages from the radio show. You would set it on a certain letter-number combination, and that would be your key. See this one here, Z18? That would tell you how to decode the message. But we already tried one of the others, and it didn't seem to work, Sumner informed. Well now, you would have to have the decoder. The letters were all scrambled up on the dial. That explains it, I said. So you think these were written by some boy or girl who lived in our house a long time ago? Captain Midnight was broadcast during the 1940s mainly, so I'm guessing they were placed inside your window seat somewhere around 60 years ago. Wow, that's a long time, Logan exclaimed. Is there any way to decode them without the decoder? I asked. Well, you might be able to decipher them, but it would take you quite a while, Mr. Parks advised. Was there anything else in the jar? No, just paper, Sumner answered. You might go back and look around for the decoder. As I recall, it was pretty small. You might have overlooked it, Mr. Parks recommended. We really didn't look for anything else after we found the jar, Sumner said. Yeah, let's go back and look. It could be in the window seat somewhere, Logan said. Thanks, Mr. Parks. Thanks, Dad. Come on, let's go. And that's the end of Chapter 2. Summer of the Secret Squadron, Chapter 3. We made it back to the house with the jar full of papers and headed straight up the stairs for a thorough search of the window seat and the chimney. Mom was back in the kitchen as we whizzed by her. Now what are you guys up to? Was Dad any help? No, but Mr. Parks was, I said. He thinks some kids put letters down our chimney 50 or 60 years ago. Something about an old radio show called Captain Midnight. Mr. Parks said we should go back and see if the kid left the Captain Midnight decoder that would help us decipher the message. Wow, that would be neat. Is Dad's big flashlight still under the sink? I asked, reaching to open the lower cabinet door. It should be. Yeah, here it is. Come on, guys, let's go and take a look. We ran up the stairs. Mom had left the window seat alone, just like she said. I get to hold the flashlight this time, Logan insisted. All right, but we'll take turns, I agreed. We got to the window seat and looked in. Besides the chimney, there was a small area around each side of the bricks that could have been used to hide some small items. We looked there first. Nothing. Well, not absolutely nothing. We found a marble, 2 round plastic chips from some unknown game, and a comb. You think these belong to the kids who left the jar down there? Logan asked. Maybe, I answered. Let's look down in the chimney again, Logan suggested. It's probably down there. It's probably not anywhere, Sumner said. If you were a kid, would you leave one of your toys down in a hole for someone else to find 60 years later? I don't know. I might, Logan said. Besides, he left the jar and the letters down there, so he might have left the decoder. You guys stop fussing and let's just look down the chimney. Logan shined Dad's flashlight down into the dark hole. It was much better than my flashlight and lit up more of the flue. Do you see anything? Sumner asked. Shook my head. Not really. It looks like there might be something down at the bottom, Logan said. Still too hard to see down that far. What can we do? Sumner wondered. I know. Let's tie a cord onto the flashlight and lower it down, and then maybe we can have a good look at the bottom. I saw some guy do it once on a wildlife show when he was looking for snakes, Logan explained. Well, let's hope we don't find any snakes, I said jokingly. We lowered the flashlight down into the flue. It only went down about 7 or 8 feet, but it was enough to light up the bottom pretty well. I think I see it, Logan shouted. I don't. Where? I still can't make out anything down at the bottom. Sumner was always ready to burst his brother's bubble. We need one more thing, my binoculars. I ran over to one of my shelves and retrieved the binoculars and once again looked down into the hole. All I see are pieces of mortar, I said. Let me look, Logan said, taking the binoculars. I thought that big piece of mortar was the decoder. Logan passed them to Sumner. Well, what are we going to do now? Sumner asked, coming to the same conclusion as Logan and I. How are we going to decode the message without the decoder? I don't know, I admitted. Mr. Parks said we could decode them without a decoder, Logan recalled. No, he said we might be able to decode them, but it would take a long time. Sumner's memory was much better. Maybe we should look around some more, I suggested. Where? Sumner asked. I don't know. Check inside, underneath the edges of the window seat, I pointed. Do you feel anything taped under the lid? Here, let me look, Sumner said, crawling down into the cramped space and turning over onto his back. No, nothing. Maybe it's somewhere else in the room, I hoped. Or somewhere else in the house, Logan added. Let's look here first, I said, hoping we didn't have to search the whole house. I had a cool room. It was very big, and it had a closet, which was unusual for a house this old. The ceilings were slanted following the roof line. My one window faced the backyard and was surrounded by shelves and a built-in slant-top desk along with the window seat. I'll check the desk, I said. Why don't one of you look in the closet and the other one search the shelves? I'll take the closet, Logan. You take the shelves. Okay, Logan agreed. We each searched our area. I looked inside the old desk, which I had forgotten to clean altogether. It was a lot like my window seat, crammed full of junk. The desk was better than 3 feet wide, with a middle section that acted as a lid. As quickly as I could, I pulled the myriad of stuff that had collected in the desk out onto the floor and searched inside. Again, nothing. I felt around inside, secretly hoping I'd press a hidden button and a lever and it would reveal the decoder, but no such luck. I crawled underneath the desk and felt and pressed. No button. Logan and Sumner had no better luck. Did you find anything? Sumner asked. No. Did you find anything, Logan? I found 43 cents, but no decoder. I thought for sure it would be somewhere in this desk, I said, raising up the lid again. Maybe there's a secret button, Logan said, shining the flashlight onto the empty space. That's what I was hoping, I admitted. We all 3 peered into the opening to look one more time. Suddenly, I saw something I hadn't noticed before. Hey, wait a minute. Let me see, I said, controlling my excitement. I rummaged around in the junk on the floor. I think I saw a ruler in here somewhere. Here it is. What are you doing? Sumner asked as he stuck his head inside the desk. I need to measure something, I said, not wanting to stir up any false hope. I measured the top left-hand side of the desk, and then I measured the same side, only on the inside this time. I think I may have found something. Look, on the outside, this part measures 8 inches, but on the inside, it only measures 3. A hidden compartment, Logan yelled, holding up both arms as if someone had just scored a touchdown. It looks like it might be, but how do we get into it? Sumner asked. We took turns sticking our heads inside the desk, but try as we might, we couldn't seem to budge the inside wall. There's a small hole right in the middle there. Maybe if we stuck something in the hole, we could get a good pull on the board, Sumner suggested. Here's a compass. Let's see if that will work, I said, handing it to Sumner. Sumner inserted the sharp end of the compass into the small hole and strained to dislodge the board. Wiggle it back and forth. See if that will do it, Logan advised. Yeah, I think it's coming, Sumner said. The board came loose, and Sumner was able to pull it completely out of the way, revealing the contents of the secret compartment. That's it! I pulled a small brass pin out from the desk. It was as Mr. Parks described, with a dial displaying the scrambled alphabet and the numbers 1 through 26 surrounding the dial. It was shaped like a policeman's badge with an eagle at the top and the words Captain Midnight and the Secret Squadron below the eagle. I can't believe we found it, Sumner said. I can't either, I agreed. Now we can decode the messages. Look what else is in here, Logan said, pulling other objects from the desk. Along with the decoder, the secret compartment contained a Captain Midnight code manual from 1941, a pencil, a rubber coin purse with 37 cents, 2 large marbles, and the remains of an old candle. But it was the decoder that had us jumping up and down for joy. It was like Christmas, only better than any Christmas I had ever known. In the book, they show you a picture of the decoder. Try and hold it still and show you. So pretty exciting stuff happening today. That is the end of chapter 3. Come back tomorrow for more. See you next time.